Well, hello everybody. Danny back from Deepsouth Homestead. In my shop over here at Pecan Grove, just trying to chill this morning. It is 8 o'clock in the morning on a Sunday morning. We had a flood yesterday for about 15 minutes, and it high winds, lightning. I mean, it was rough there for a few minutes. But you got to understand, we had heat indices of 108 to 110 degrees. And during the storm, the temperature dropped down to 70 degrees. Isn't it amazing how it can change just that fast? And then this morning, even though it's perfectly sunny, not a cloud in the sky, the temperature is still not bad. It's only like 85 right now to start our morning out. And I can handle that. Doesn't seem like it's too bad. Especially if we can just get a light breeze. If we could just get some breeze, that would be great. Seriously thinking about our friends in Florida. You know, with Hurricane Debbie, or Tropical Storm Debbie, should I say. It might turn into a hurricane before it's over with. They're going to be getting tremendous amounts of flooding down in there. We are thinking and praying about our friends in Florida. Know that you're in our prayers. We know what you're going through. We've been through it many, many, many times here where we live at, just off the Gulf Coast of Mississippi. And it's quite common for these kind of things to happen this time of the year. It is different than it was when I was a child. I mean, when I was a child, we had Camille come through. Betty before that, come into New Orleans down here, and then we had Camille. And then, you know, our next really, really bad one was Katrina. But I've lived through a lot of hurricanes. I've actually filmed and videoed a lot of hurricanes. The number one on my list was Hurricane George. It came in the Mississippi Gulf Coast down here and came right up Highway 49 and got about 15 miles from me, and it stopped right there, or the center of it, over Highway 49, and sit there for like 10 hours. Just would not move, you know what I mean? And I'm out in this video and everything. That was way back in the day when I was a young man. The reason I was videoing it was because dove season was just fixing to open up the weekend after that here, and the doves were coming into my fields right before the hurricane made landfall, and during the hurricane the doves were coming in by the hundreds. My fields were ready to be hunted over, and I was trying to film that, and the trees were swishing out. I was getting trees falling to the ground and all this kind of stuff, and then I had trees falling across my fences. My cows were wanting to get out. I was out in it with a chainsaw trying to saw these trees off of the fences and not have a tree fall on me at the same time. And the things you do when you're younger and you don't really think about it. You know, you think you're 10 feet tall and bulletproof at that time. But nevertheless, we got it taken care of. And but now the times are just different. It doesn't seem like we have the types of weather that we used to have. And I know a lot of it is cyclical, because I have, you know, scientists that are friends of mine that, you know, they give me some data and tell me, you know, what the sun's doing, what the earth's doing, what the magnetic fields are doing, and solar systems are doing, and all this kind of stuff. And they tell me when it happened previously in our history and stuff like that, and what to expect, what happened then, what we can expect to happen now. And, you know, it's quite possible that the things that I tell you guys like this right here is why they pull my videos, because lots of times they pull in my videos or they demonetize them and say be based on information that's not really accurate and all this kind of stuff. And I'm going like, how can it not be accurate? It's history. It's what y'all put out for history, you know, and they don't want people to know, I guess. I mean, and when I talk about biblical things, I think that might be something else that gets the channel flagged and pulled, and the videos pulled and demonetized. Most of our live streams now are just being demonetized because of what I say after the live stream, the little tips and things that I share with people. But I'm enjoying today. Got a good bit of work done yesterday on the place here, even though the heat index was horrible before the rain. And that's not the bad part. This coming week, guys, get ready. This coming week, we will have some of the worst heat indices we've experienced thus far. We got a big high pressure moving back over the United States, and both east and west. Our temperature here, not the heat index, but our temperature is going to be way over 100 degrees. So that tells me that the heat indexes will be like skyrocketed way up there probably. Only thing we can hope for during this is some showers to cool off, but they're talking about it just being sunny. And probably can expect some chemtrailing then. It always happens. So, you know, like I said, we were doing some work on the shop here yesterday. We got a good bit done. I have to admit, we got a good bit done. We're getting things here ready. I've been this morning standing some more posts in the shop here, getting ready to, you see what's behind me. There's actually a floor up above me here we'll be talking about later. But I'm putting in the second section of my shop over here. I'm getting the post set in it, like you see the post behind me here with the stuff on it there that I hang so that I can see it. The little stuff that I can just reach and grab if I need it without having to dig through and plunder through stuff. I'm doing the same exact thing on this side, except this side I'm getting ready to do some special stuff on this side. But guys, you know, we are in a chaotic situation right now. And it's nothing new. We knew this was coming. Scripture tells us that this is going to happen. It's just that it doesn't resonate well with us when it actually happens. We sit back and we think about, and we hear about it, you know, we read about it. Churches, well, I don't know how many churches talk about it, probably not much anymore, about the end times. And let me say, when I say end times, I'm not talking about the end of the world. The world's not going to end, okay? It's the end of an era, the church age. It's the end of an age. The church age is coming to an end. And when that happens, we will begin to move forward in a different dispensation of time. And things will be different. And lots and lots and lots and lots of people will die. You know, I mean, that's just the way it is. Nothing I can do about it. I can't change it. I'm just telling you what Scripture says. As a matter of fact, Scripture teaches us that 2/3 of the world's population is going to die. So, you know, for 2/3, 1/3 at one time, 1/3 at another time, and the waters are going to be poisoned. I mean, it tells us that. I mean, a third of the ships in the ocean are going to sink. I mean, all these things are in the Scriptures if we just look and find them. So in order for all this kind of stuff to happen, we know there's got to be some kind of cataclysmic events that take place, whether it's war or something from outer space, no matter what it is, something has got to happen to make all this take place. And lots of prophetical things will begin to kick into place. I mean, we see that beginning to happen now. We've got nations across, we call it the pond, on the other side of the earth. They're in heavy battle right now. And the thing about it is we always just think about, oh, that's over there. Well, the simple fact that we're connected with, oh, that's over there, means that we're on high alert here also. And we, guys, look, we avert many, I gotta see how to say this, many activities in our nation gets averted every day through intelligence. If not, we would have the same thing here. Because it is being tried to be done here. It's just not succeeding because intelligence is getting it and stopping it before it actually happens. But now there will come a point that they will succeed. And when they do, it really bothers me, not for my own well-being, but for those who are in congested areas and they depend on the municipal water system for their water. Their houses are all electric. And, you know, when I see things like this, I'm like, it concerns me, really concerns me, because if the power goes down and there's no, and the municipal water system is either poisoned, which is very easily done, if that happens, then people can't drink their water. They have no water, and people don't seem to realize. They go, well, I've got bottled water. Well, bottled water is toxic anyway, let me tell you that. The dioxin in it. Guys, it's not about just having drinking water. It's about having hygiene. You know, it's about being able to bathe. It's about being able to flush a toilet. You know, this type of stuff. Wash your hands. These types of things to cool off if you have to. If there is no water, well, let's say there is water. What if there is water and it's toxic and you can't use it? And people go, well, I'll just boil it. Well, you can't boil chemicals out of water. So, you know, I mean, that's one of the things that concerns me is people who don't have a way to purify their water. Or either they just set up to where they have no ability to have anything else other than just when they turn the faucet on, the municipal system provides their water. We already know there's rationings going on in different parts of the country, even in different parts of the world. And on top of that, we have the left. I'm just going to call it the left. That's trying to take away our ability to have our own farm animals. And you go, oh, that'll never happen. Well, wake up call here. It's already happening in Europe. Europe is already taking away the cows and chickens and all this types of stuff. And some of our leadership here in this country actually likes that idea. And people go, well, I will never give up this. Well, they fine you. And then what they do is if you don't pay the fine, they tax it onto your land taxes. And then if your land taxes aren't paid, they confiscate your property. In the end, they get what they want. So these kind of things are happening all around us right now. And it really disturbs me because if people don't have a way to, if you don't have some kind of a permaculture system set up where you can go outside and you can pick something, let's just say that there hasn't been any type of nuclear fallout or anything, and what you can pick outside is still edible, it's not toxic, then most people don't have anything outside 365 days a year that they can go out and just eat fresh. Most people don't have enough canned goods that that they can fall back on. You know, we were in the live stream the other night. Somebody was asking, how much do we can for just the two of us? And, you know, and I was trying to explain, we take like, if we try to categorize our stuff. We say like green beans, we try to say 2 jars a week, because Wanda and I don't eat no more than 2 jars a week, 2 quart jars that is. So we figure 2 times 52, which is, you know, 104 jars of green beans we like to have. And carrots, we'll eat a couple jars of carrots a week. Now carrots we usually do in pints, some in quarts, but mostly in pints. And very seldom, I eat carrots straight out the jar, heated up straight out of the jar. But Wanda likes to put them in soups and stuff like that. And when I talk about soups, we'll take some meat that we've either, you know, taken from the property here wild, or we'll take one of the animals that we've butchered, and we'll take the meat from that, and we'll put it into a soup, and then we'll take some okra, and some tomatoes, and some potatoes, all this from our place here, some carrots, some onions, some garlic, and stuff to this nature, and well, that's what we eat. Now, we don't eat a giant pot of it, you know what I'm saying? If Wanda makes a pot of it, and it ends up being say a 4-quart pot or something like that, then that's what we eat on for the next 3 to 4 days. And the way we break our food system down is just that way. If we can potatoes, and we figure, well, we eat 1 quart of potatoes a week, that's about all of the canned potatoes we eat, because we use them in other different ways, so we don't do a lot of maybe 60 jars of canned potatoes a year or something like that. And we do can a little bit of okra for frying so that we have it during the winter months. And we harvest our cauliflower, our broccoli. We keep all this stuff in the freezers so that we have that to supplement with. And when you don't have this type of stuff to supplement with, and you have to depend on the cancer center for your food, I've renamed the grocery stores the cancer center, because when you eat out of a grocery store, that's where you get, because all the food from the grocery stores are mostly toxic. Even if you buy fresh produce, now they have APEEL, A-P-E-E-L. If you don't know what that is, you can look it up. It's on a lot of the fresh produce now. Very toxic to the human system. And even organics is using APEEL now. So you can't really get away from it. And then you have other chemicals that has absolutely nothing to do with the food that you're eating. I mean, buy a loaf of bread right now from the store. I don't eat bread because it's toxic to the human system. But you go to the grocery store and you buy a loaf of bread and look at the ingredients on it. There's like 20 ingredients in a loaf of bread when all you need is, flour, water, salt, and baking powder and stuff like that. And I'm sitting here, I'm going like, really? Do you need that much stuff in a loaf of bread? I mean, you can throw a slice of bread out here and it'll lay here for a week and it won't mold. Homemade bread in 2 or 3 days will start molding. So, I mean, they've put all these preservatives in everything, and when you put these preservatives into your body, you're poisoning your body. And guys, I know they're probably going to take this video down, but you know what? I'm just trying to make a point. I'm not telling you to not go to a grocery store. I'm just telling you that it's not the best answer out there. Raising our own food is actually the best way to go. And then let me even say this about raising our own food. Lots of the food that we raise ourselves has no more nutritional value than what you're getting out of the grocery store, or the cancer center, should I say. And I'll tell you why. It's because people are too tight to do a soil sample test. And I'll say, oh, it's $30. You can spend $30 on a soil test if you're serious about gardening. Or you can go to your county extension and get a cheapie for $8 and they just give you the NPK and maybe the zinc or something like that with it. But if you want the true analysis for like 15 different minerals and all that kind of stuff, we have a link down below. Grower Solutions has a fantastic soil test thing that you can do. We do it regularly. You can either pay for that or you can pay a doctor for doctor visits because your body's breaking down because it doesn't get the nutrition that it needs. And to be honest with you, the food that's in the cancer center is, I'm going to go ahead and say this, they're withholding one mineral in the food system. And that's all it takes to break your body down, is for your body not to have this one mineral. And actually it's 2 minerals, to be honest with you. But that's why it's so important that we test our soil, because our soils are depleted. I mean, let's just be honest about it. Our forefathers came in and they just destroyed the soil. My daddy was one of them. He would plant in a place and plant in a place, and when it got where nothing was really coming up good, he'd move over and clear out another place and start planting there. He said, well, the ground's just wore out there. We got to move somewhere else, And I'm like, well, Dad, why not replenish what we've taken out? Oh, son, that costs too much money. We ain't interested. We ain't got the money to do that. I'm like, well, I don't know. I'm just different, And lots of people say, well, and then there's those people out there that use nothing but organic material to do their stuff with, which is fine. I do not have a problem with that. I do use a lot of organic stuff myself. But you have to understand, I've tried and preached this for years. You have to understand how organic material works. You can't just go out there and put it this year and expect your plants to have it this year. It just don't work that way. It's an 8% up front maximum that you're going to get out of it, and you've got to have at least 12 months for it to break down. before the plant can technically utilize it. I mean, you got people who go out there and they go, well, I got some eggshells here, I'm crushing them up, putting them in my soil. Is that bad for the soil? No, it is not bad for the soil. Is your plants going to benefit from it? No, they're not going to benefit from it up front. Maybe a year from now, they've broken down enough that a plant can begin to utilize them. But now if you put them in a, what do they call these things, a Ninja blender, and you just pulverize it till it's like dust, and you put it out, the plants can use it. You know what I mean? It's all about knowing how to use this stuff. Lots of people go, well, I gather up all the leaves I can, and I turned them into my soil this year as organic matter. And that is perfectly great. I do that, except I put the leaves in a compost pile and mix sand in with it and keep it wet underneath. I don't have it out in the sun. I have it underneath some big trees. And I'm constantly adding my food scraps to it, turning it, putting a little lime in it, some nitrogen, because most people don't realize when you put the leaves in your soil, it's strictly a carbon, and you don't have any nitrogen there, and it just sucks every bit of the nitrogen out of what's in there to break down those carbons. Now, if you add some nitrogen, which would be something green, put some green stuff in there and mix it in layers, hey, you can make some pretty good compost pretty quick. Now here in the deep south where it's extremely humid all the time, oh, when I say humidity, I mean like me and Wanda come to the conclusion a lot of times we get soaking wet. It's not from sweat, it's just from the humidity in the air, just wetness, you know. Because the humidity is so high, once we get the soil wet, it never dries out. It just stays wet, and stuff breaks down. Within 1 year, we can take a giant trash pile, and within a year, a brush pile of limbs and bushes and stuff we just push up in there. In a year, we can go ahead and take a shovel and start digging it up and putting it in our raised beds. And it's full of earthworms and stuff like that. It's really, really good stuff. But even at that, there's a lot of stuff that's missing. We have to add the magnesium. We come back with the Epsom salt and we put the magnesium. I'll take my fireplace ashes and I'll put them in it to put the potash back in it, a little bit of neutralizing it with the ash. I'll go through these steps, and then still, when I put it in the raised beds, I still take a soil sample and send it off and see what I'm missing, because lots of times it comes back and says I need boron or I need zinc. My zinc's out of whack, my boron's out of whack, my manganese is out of whack, my copper's out of whack. You know, I have to, copper's why we have heart attacks. Most people don't even know that, you know. Copper's what makes your muscles in your body flexible and pliable, and a lack of it is why we have gray hair. So I mean, there's all these things that we don't really understand about the minerals that's in our soil. So sometimes raising our own food is really, to be honest, I'm just being honest with you, is not really a lot better than going to the grocery store and buying what a commercial grower grew and sprayed with only God knows what to keep the bugs off of it. Healthy soil, healthy gardens don't have a bug infestation. Okay, that's just the bottom line. We have a problem in our high tone, even though my soil is like the perfect soil right now. We don't get away from any of all insect type stuff. We have phases where the sphinx moth comes through and we end up with the worms in our high tone. And it's only for like 3 or 4 days. If we're on our P's and Q's and our toes, and we go out every day and we do what we do, we make a walk through the high tone in the mornings, and if it's not so hot we can't do it in the middle of the day, we do it in the middle of the day, and then we do it in the afternoon. And we're always looking for those little worms, and when they pop up, we hand pick them off 99% of the time. And if we catch them when they're little, they don't really do much damage. Or we go out at night with a black light and we catch them at night. If you go out really early in the morning, now when I say early, I'm talking about like 6 o'clock. If you're out there at 6 o'clock in the morning, most of the tomato worms or stink bugs or anything like that will be right in the very tip top of a plant, and you can take some soapy water on the stink bugs in a little Tupperware bowl or butter bowl or whatever people use, with some mixed in with some dishwashing liquid, and you can just rake them things off in there. They won't you can rake them off in there, and you can harvest all your stink bugs up and get rid of them first thing in the morning. kudzu bugs. A lot of people have told me, Danny, please tell people about the kudzu bugs. How did you get rid of them? I was out there at daylight. As soon as I could see the plant, and I could see the bugs wrapped around the vining parts of our pole beans and stuff like that, I had my big tub of Dawn dishwashing liquid, and I would just rake them things off in that till I had it completely full. I'd sit it down, go get me another one, and I just kept doing that. Took me a whole season because they just kept multiplying. And that season, I finally got them to stop. The next season, they came right back, but I was on top of it when they came back because I knew about the time they were going to come in. I was right on top of it, got them stopped early. This year, over at Deepsouth, I've not had any at Pecan Grove. Over at Deepsouth, in my fig tree, I had a little space about this long. I was in my fig tree and I saw the kudzu bugs around the fig limb up there, and immediately I eradicated them. Immediately. Never had no more, and haven't seen any more the rest of the summer. It's just, guys, it is a diligent process that we have to be vigilant when we do it. This is all scriptural. The Bible teaches us in Matthew 24, we're going to have pestilences, we're going to have things like this, the famine, pestilences, are going to happen in the latter part of the age of the church. We're to expect this. And when we go through these solar cycles that we're going through, insects are moving south to the north. So get ready, my northern friends. They're coming your way. Spiders, you're going to see more spiders than you've ever seen before. These little small German roaches, we're having an infestation of them in the woods now. When you go out in the woods anywhere, you rake the pine straw back, you rake the leaves back, and they fly by the thousands. In my cornfields, they were in there by the thousands. I mean, they're just, it's a plague, okay? We know that. Some people have frogs running out their ears. So, I mean, some people have locusts running out their ears. Some people have grasshoppers running out their ears. It's part of the end time stuff that's going to happen. So we have to be on top of it. Guys, I just want to share some thoughts with you this morning. Not really anything super big this morning. I'm just waiting on my corn to dry back here where I can get that down, get it ready to grind, to get it out of my shop. I've still got tons in the cooler I'm working on. Trying to get it ready to, y'all see me setting the grist mill back up again at some point. I'm going to be grinding a lot this time. Trying to get everything taken care of. Trying to be as self-sufficient as I can. Now, am I 100%? No, nobody's 100%. I can't make salt. I can't, some things I just can't do. I'm doing the best I can do, though, at my age. And if I was younger, I could probably do a lot more. But people ask me, how much food do I need to make it through what's coming? Technically, to be honest with you, it would take 7 years. I'm not there. I'm just being honest. I'm not there. Some people are. I'm not. I'm working on it, but I'm not. I'm not nowhere near that right now. I'm trying to make this transition from Deepsouth to Pecan Grove. I'm losing valuable prep time trying to build infrastructure. So it's taking a lot of my time doing that. But I'm trying to take you all along on this journey with me to teach you and show you that I'm 60-something years old, in my mid-60s. That's a big task to take on in this heat, being in your 60s, and not hiring all of it done, doing it yourself. A really big task to undertake to do. But I want to show you guys there's hope. That's why I'm doing it. There's hope. I could not video any of it, not say anything, and just do it. But I'm trying to show you that there's hope. You can do it. Don't give up. Keep pressing forward. And if you can't, let's just do what you can do. Okay, that's all the Lord asks from us, is to do all that we can do, and then do it as though we're doing it unto Him. If we do it as though we're doing it unto Him, then we've given it our best. And if we begin to falter and not have, then I believe at that point is when the Lord kicks in. And He says, here. He starts opening doors and avenues for us to be able to go down and to be more self-sufficient. Let's just say that. I've got to get to work, guys. The heat is starting to build in here with the fan off where I can shoot this video. There is a cool breeze every now and then, but I got a lot to do. So I'm going to stop it here and say, please go over to Pecan Grove and subscribe. That's where all the magic is taking place. Deepsouth, I'm just doing my porch time and my live streams here, keeping the channel up, keeping it going because so many people depend on it. But all the secret stuff, the magic stuff, all this kind of stuff is happening over at Pecan Grove. That's where you're going to learn. Go over there, subscribe to it, hit the notification button so that as we put up my tips, my tricks, my hacks, I'm actually beginning to, matter of fact, I'll tell you this before I get off here. A friend of mine, Chris, was over here helping me. And he told me, he said, I cannot believe the secrets that you shared with me, you have now put out on YouTube about making your homemade DIY, fertilizer. And I said, Chris, I know I give it to you and told you it was secret, but I said, you know what, we're at the end of an age right now, and people really need to know these things if they're going to survive. I can't keep everything in that I do all the time, and because people wonder why my stuff flourishes. I have tricks that I do. I have, and I told you one of my tricks about moving trees and over at Pecan Grove, and I told you one of my tricks about making my DIY, time release fertilizer and stuff like that. These are just things that I do for myself. And I'm going to begin over at Pecan Grove as time goes on. I'm going to share these things that I do with people. Now you guys, if you go over there and watch, I'll be sharing stuff like that. So if you want to learn like that, then I would suggest you go over to Pecan Grove and check it out. Now, there will be a link in the description for Pecan Grove if you can't find it. All I can say is, guys, pray for our friends in Florida as they're getting this tropical storm, possible hurricane coming in down there. Mostly just going to be flooding. Tropical storms can do just as much damage as a bad hurricane if it sits still long enough and dumps enough water. Flooding can still be the same issue there. So we're going to keep those people in our prayers. And for those having wildfires burning, those that's dealing with the droughts, those that's dealing with the high temperatures, that's not used to it, things of this nature, guys, our country is in chaos, it's in turmoil. Let's stay on our knees. Let's constantly ask the Lord to help us, to help His people, mainly His people, which is us. Let's ask the Lord to help us make it through these end times. Revelation says, blessed is the man who makes it to the end. Let's be the people who makes it to the end. Thank you, guys, from Deep South Homestead.